Well, in March this year, the Integrated Reporting Committee of South Africa, which is the de facto national body, they endorsed the international framework as a guidance on how to prepare an integrated report. Of course, companies in South Africa also have to comply with the principles of King 3, and we've been able to do that with the King 3 practice note and the flexibility that's offered in the framework, certainly Section 1E, that gives you flexibility in terms of the form of the integrated report. And I think some South African companies that really do want to stick to the stakeholder inclusive approach for their report, certainly found happiness in that. And I think the biggest benefit of the international framework coming out is that it's given companies in South Africa certainty. Because over the past couple of years, some of them have been using King 3, some of them have been using the discussion paper put out by the IRC of South Africa a few years ago, and others have been using the consultation draft in previous iterations of the international framework. So it's really great that there's now a guidance and there's certainty going forward.
Well, I think actually it gives us a very good framework and the ground rule, so to speak, so that you have some measure that you can really approach it by. And that really gives you structure. And I think that a lot of theory doesn't really help. When you've got a framework that's very clear, very practical, it gives you structure, it really helps you to then measure your success against that. Being able to understand, well, what are you doing well, what should you do better, and getting everyone on board really in the organisation to do that. Well, it gives him line of sight, because for the first time really you've got not only a requirement that says that you need to pull all of these elements together, but importantly as well, it really gives him the full spectrum of what's going well in the organisation, areas that we need to improve, gaps, what we should be focusing on. And I think it's also a useful tool that he can take when he reports to the board and says, this is actually what we're doing holistically across our organisation, and it gives the board a fantastic overview that they can't otherwise get in any one place, and also importantly it helps our investors and our other stakeholders really have a good appreciation of what's happening in the organisation on an annual basis.
It's encouraged companies to consider not broader aspects than the purely financial capital. So they are now considering the effects and consequences of the various other types of capital important to that business. And I'm so pleased about it, because that means that integrated reporting can and is changing the way that business is being run.
Well, I think it's really just seeing it as being total value and how that's created in all the pockets of the organisation, and seeing it all come together and actually getting people in the organisation on board so that they look at it more holistically and don't just see it from their vantage point within a business or function. And it's really everyone pulling in the same direction, which is fantastic.